Hello everybody, it's the Game Judge here, and I'm excited because we just received some new information about Obsidian Entertainments' Avowed. Now this was from the recent Xbox Developer Direct, where they gave us some new details about story, gameplay, combat, and much more. I want to talk about each area and what new information we received. Something else to note here, I already did an Avowed video a little while ago, where I talked about everything we knew about Avowed at that time. With that being said, let's start with the new info we recently learned from the Xbox Developer Direct in regards to combat. Up to this point, we only had an announcement trailer and a gameplay trailer from a while ago to go by. We knew from the gameplay trailer a while ago that you could dual wield weapons, use two hands to cast a spell, or use a sword and spell in one hand, and it showed us that Avowed has a variety of weapons and combat versatility. However, Avowed showing at the Xbox Developer Direct gave us some new info. They showed us that you can dual wield wands actually,
oriented gameplay, and the depth and breadth of choice that you get with an RPG.
Or a wand with a sword, which is pretty freaking cool and already adds to the combat versatility that we already knew about Avowed.
Use your enchanted wand to freeze enemies, and then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them.
Not only that, they showed us combat is full of real-time decisions and confirmed that you can do things such as parrying, blocking, and dodging.
It's not just hacking and slashing. You're making real-time decisions about when to use your abilities.
They didn't say this explicitly, but this seems to be confirmed in the combat gameplay they showed us, where a white circle appears and the character takes, or rather times, an action. I think this indicates the real-time combat decisions that they were referring to. I think this is all good stuff and can only serve to make the combat more engaging. They also confirmed that you can have customizable loadouts that are easy to swap between and that you're free to mix and match your loadouts as well.
So we developed a flexible combat system that allows you to quickly swap from spellcasting and sharpshooting to melee combat. We want to give you the freedom to mix and match your loadout to fit the way you want to play from moment to moment, uninterrupted. For all battles, you can combine a variety of weapons, attacks, and abilities for tactical advantages.
To me, this is good news, and being able to customize your gameplay experience is always a plus for me, especially in fantasy RPG games like Avowed. Being able to customize my loadout and swap between weapons easily when facing different types of monsters, as opposed to having to fumble around my menu, switching my gear around, is a great example of Obsidian respecting a player's time and applying simplicity in a way that makes sense in a video game, like Avowed. I think this is a great design decision by Obsidian Entertainment. Moving on, they also gave us information that you will have a variety of different types of attacks. They confirmed you'll be able to do special attacks.
And special attacks.
It will be interesting to see if the special attacks applies to more than just your spell abilities they showed us, and if this also applies to melee abilities, such as the charge towards an enemy that they showed us at some point in the footage.
Battle.
I just wonder if that's a special ability as well. They also confirmed that you will be able to do power attacks.
And then use your offhand weapon's power attack to shatter them.
This also makes me wonder if Avowed will include things such as a fast attack alongside the special and power attacks as another form of attack. You have to imagine they will, as this is a common concept among games that do this type of thing. I also hope here that they're taking into account the size or weight of the weapon, dictating the speed in which you swing it or swap it. I think we have some evidence in the Avowed footage they showed us as the little dual-wielding wands not only look cool but really fast.
Or even dual-wield wands to feel like a gunslinging mage.
This is all good stuff. I like a little realism and versatility in my combat. So for the next part, can someone tell me if this looks like a kill cam? I mean, I don't know. It kind of looks like a kill cam to me. If so, then I approve of that or this message. Always thought the kill cam was a cool addition in Skyrim. Although it was a little janky, I always wanted someone to take that concept and improve it. I just think it feels so badass to do a finishing kill move. I have to say, if this is the kill cam in Avowed, it's kind of underwhelming to be honest. But I will be lenient here, as I really don't know if it's a kill cam. I'm speculating, and maybe it's only one type of kill cam with a weak ability against one little skeleton. Who knows? Lastly, they confirm monsters will have different play styles when you face them, such as being really defensive.
It's important to pay attention to the types of enemies you're dealing with. Some units are extremely defensive,
or having healing abilities.
Make sure you prioritize, or their healing capabilities will put you in a tough spot.
I think this is great and typical of a lot of RPG games. Like attacking the healer is something I think most of us do in these kinds of games. The enemies seem to react well to actions you're taking towards them in combat, such as when you swing your sword left and right, and they're moving in the right direction accordingly. However, I am concerned about the impact of your weapons feel against enemies. Like with this sword, it seems like a swift attack, but I kind of wish it had a little more impact. Personally, I love to disarm an opponent by chopping off the arm that's using a weapon, but maybe I'm just weird. So in regards to combat, I feel like they're checking all the boxes here, but my biggest fear is that they're only doing that and playing it too safe. I feel like a lot of these combat elements they showed us are typical stuff you see in fantasy RPGs, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if they do them really well, which you're going to need to do if they're not going to be innovative, but I would like to see some more innovation and risk here. The next big area I'm going to talk about in regards to the new information we received about Avowed is the story. We know it's set in the PoE universe of Aora and takes place in the land known as the Living Lands. What's interesting here is they do appear to tell us about the main quest line in Avowed,
Where you must put a stop to a mysterious spiritual plague.
So it appears you will be looking for a cure for a mysterious plague, and I imagine as you're looking for this cure, that you'll also be uncovering perhaps what caused this mysterious plague in the first place.
The world is normal and growing normaler. I wish I could have saved all my friends, but I'm just a simple dude.
She also mentions that you will discover a lot of secrets in the world, and that one of these secrets will have a really personal connection to you as the player.
There's going to be a lot of great secrets to discover, one of which has a really personal connection to you as the player character.
Now this information is pretty vague, but it does make you wonder what the big secret is. You know, does it have something to do with the mysterious plague that they referenced, or is it something else entirely? I guess we will have to wait to find that one out. Speaking of the main quest, we also get a nice glimpse into a side quest, and what I love about this is they preface this by saying you will have to make difficult decisions that can affect the world around you.
Some quests in Avowed will have you make difficult decisions with profound consequences. Like this side quest you may encounter in Shatterscarp.
We can also see some cool dialogue options that give you different choices to make, true to Obsidian Entertainment's reputation. Then as you complete the side quest based on what actions you decided to take, they mention that when you go back into this town after doing this side quest, you will see change based on what decisions you made in the side quest.
But if you confront him, if you believe that he fled the site of the battle as an act of cowardice, then he might challenge you to a fight to reclaim his honor. Either way, when you return to town, you'll see the consequences of your actions and the choices you made during this quest.
Now, I love this approach. I'm a big fan of branching storylines and the world changing around you as you make decisions that affect the world. However, the most important part that we are missing, that they didn't show us, is what exactly changes in these towns when we make these kinds of decisions in Avowed. Too many games get this wrong and give us the illusion of choice. The decisions need to have a real impact and change the world in order for the player to feel immersed in it. One of the greatest games to do this, in my opinion, was Dragon Age Origins, where choices felt like they actually meant something. It does seem like Obsidian Entertainment is embracing the whole thing and giving us, the player, the ability to make decisions that affect the world, as they mentioned dealing with moral nuances and gray areas.
Making the right choice isn't always what it seems. We embrace moral nuance and gray areas, trusting players to make tough decisions in complicated situations.
I think this is definitely an encouraging sign. I know a lot of people were upset because Obsidian decided to move away from the original plan to be an open world competitor to Skyrim, and doubling down on what they do best with a smaller, more linear world with great writing and dialogue. But I personally think this was a good idea by Obsidian, as this is their strength and what they're known for. This new footage from the Xbox Developer Direct seems to confirm even more that they're leaning into these strengths that they possess. The next part I want to talk about is the NPCs and how you communicate with them. At first I thought it was a little weird that the NPCs didn't have direct eye contact with you in the new footage they showed us.
The four of us. Manu, Kiri, Naoki, and me.
Then I realized later on that your character's kind of off to the side of the screen, so they're actually looking towards your character on the side.
Quest, you have a choice. When you confront Private Naoki, if you believe the story
This is interesting because usually I feel like NPCs have direct eye contact with you as a player, and I feel like having your character off to the side feels a little bit strange, but maybe that's just me. Or maybe you get used to it after a while. I guess we'll have to see more of it later on to judge it fairly. Some other things Obsidian mentioned about Avowed is that it will have diverse landscapes, and they do look pretty cool and different. I think that's great to have a variety, as this will keep things fresh. However, one area of concern for me is that they're going with too quirky or whimsical of an art style, and it will be hard to take the world serious. I already talked about this in my other Avowed video about how in the announcement trailer a few years ago, the game had a darker tone and then they shifted gears. This upset a lot of people, and it does appear from this new footage of Avowed that they have stayed true to this vision and buckled down on this art style. I personally prefer a darker tone in my fantasy RPG games, and also I do wish they would have given us more information about the companions in the game. Like, we already knew about the companion Kai from prior information that they gave us, and in this new footage they really only gave us a snippet of Kai barely fighting. This area is a big question mark for me. So I think we have a good idea on what we're getting in Avowed, a somewhat open world with a more linear experience with good writing and storytelling that we all know from Obsidian Entertainment. Overall, I am still very excited for Avowed, but at the same time I have unanswered questions and concerns as well. Let me know what you guys think of Avowed in the comments below based off the information we have so far. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.